60 freeway, and we are looking at the CHP in pursuit of this vehicle. Wanted initially for driving under the influence, or possibly driving under the influence, and then at some point during the chase, the driver ended up hitting or ramming his car into a Chino police vehicle. So now it's not only the DUI, but also an assault with a deadly weapon on a peace officer, and that weapon being the car. So we're going to try to get over to the driver's side of the vehicle right now as it continues westbound on the 60 freeway here through Monterey Park, and the driver driving at about 60 miles an hour right now. Not doing much as far as erratic driving. It's been pretty stable at this speed so far, but you can see the vehicle here driving in that second to the slowest lane here. As I come out to a wide shot, we have a San Bernardino County Sheriff's helicopter that picked up the pursuit on the 60 freeway westbound about Euclid Street, and has continued ever since. So we'll see the vehicle coming into very soon the LA area, and we'll see what happens with the driver if he decides to continue on the 60 here westbound.
Yeah, and as he approaches the East LA interchange, of course, he can take the 10 westbound or the transition to the 101 freeway, possibly the 5. So a lot of options here as well. He'll have the 710 before he gets to the East LA interchange. So a lot of potential for many different directions here for the suspect. Gil, this was Chino PD initiated, but now CHP's taken over?
That's correct. The CHP took over the pursuit. I believe it was just after it left the Chino area. As I come out wide, you'll see the number of units behind it. Light traffic right now westbound on the freeway, not a whole lot of heavy traffic to speak of. At least 3 units in that pursuit right now as the airship continues to track it with the night sunlight. And the driver staying in that same lane here, not really trying to get around other vehicles or just basically maintaining the speed. He's sped up a little bit here now, about 73 miles an hour as you see on our speedometer, but so far not driving too erratic.
Yeah, not driving too erratic. However, again, this was this is a possible DUI suspect, and then another another issue that occurred as well, and part of the felony list here that he's going to rack up some charges is the assault with a deadly weapon by hitting his car to the Chino PD's police cruiser. So we've got that, felony evading. The list goes on and is probably going to get a lot longer if this goes longer. But at this moment, he seems to be maintaining the speeds, as you said, Gil, and not driving too erratically, considering what we would expect from a possible DUI suspect.
Yeah, absolutely. Maintaining the speed here, somewhere between 75 and down to as low as 60 that we saw it here. Now, we are encountering a bit of a problem here. The Dodger game's on right now, so we have a temporary flight restriction that the driver's going into right now. So we won't be able to stay directly over it, but we'll keep an eye on it from a long distance. If it continues here on the 60 westbound into the towards the downtown LA area, if he decides to go south on the 710, then that'll definitely help us, but we'll see what happens. He's going into that transition here, and you see that gore point, so we'll see which direction the driver decides to take. Maybe he'll go south, and that'll help us to stay directly over it. And it looks like at this point, if he stays in that lane, I believe it's going to go south.
So he's clearly on a transition road of the 710, and yeah, it looks as though off he goes to the southbound 710, away from the flight restriction imposed by the Dodger game there. So southbound, CHP in pursuit. Again, this out of the Chino area. Westbound on the 60, largely at freeway speeds. Not a lot of erratic driving that we've seen, that we know of. Again, the suspect wanted not only for possible DUI, but for ramming his vehicle into a Chino PD patrol car. And again, now southbound on the 710 freeway. And look, you're moving at 60, 70 miles an hour. Really what you'd hope for, ultimately, you want him to stop. But, you know, if the suspect's going to run, you want it done at this pace.
Absolutely. He looked like he's getting into some traffic here. I can't tell what it is. It's on my pilot side, so I really can't see out that side. It looks like just maybe some slower trucks that are in the way there. But now it's going to be a backup here that's the driver's going to come into. So let's see what the driver decides to do. He's going to use the shoulder. It looks like he might. And he's going to go all the way across lanes and try to maybe transition here. We'll see onto the 5. maybe, maybe not, but we'll see, or on an off-ramp there. But we have some heavier traffic here as we approach the 5, and it looks like he's going to try to weave in and out of that traffic.
Yeah, he's going to try and weave in and out of that. And if he's wanted for, if this is a suspected DUI suspect, this means a lot of trouble for those people on the road as well. And, that's very worrisome when you have that kind of danger out there with this guy that's, not only taking his own life in his hands here by driving under the influence, but, everybody else around him. So, even though he's at these speeds, he's still suspected of being under the influence while driving.
Absolutely. And it looks like he's transitioned already now past the 5 freeway. So it's southbound 710. And looking up ahead out the window, it looks like traffic's going to be pretty light on the southbound side of the 710. So driver content here to go the speed, 67 miles an hour, the CHP on his tail, the airship still overhead, and it'll continue on this way until they either try to get a spike strip if it tries to exit the freeway, or possibly a pit maneuver when the car slows down.
Again, the want DUI, and in the process, Chino PD, they were trying to pull this guy over, and he, according to law enforcement, rammed his vehicle into a Chino PD patrol car. So clearly exacerbating the situation, making things much worse for himself. And in the process, CHP has taken over, this largely on freeways, on the 60 freeway, coming out of the Chino area, all the way to the 710 southbound. And you never know where this might go, all the way into Long Beach, possibly he gets off the freeway. Don't know. At this point, CHP, again, behind this suspect, and they're tracking it, law enforcement is as well from the air. So it's going to be a challenge for the suspect to do much of anything. There you see CHP coming into frame, and relatively light traffic, as you would expect, at 10:30 on a Monday night.
Yeah, absolutely, Micah and Sherry. You see the driver there. Now see how dark the freeway is here. This is actually a pretty good freeway for the CHP to try to do a spike strip if they're able to, if the traffic's light enough, and it pretty much is. I mean, there's, I would say, light traffic. There's quite a few cars on the southbound 710 here, but there might be an opportunity for the CHP to try to put a spike strip out, especially if he's in the shoulder lanes like this. That would be enough room to do it, but it's a definitely tricky situation, especially since he's known to have rammed another police agency. So that could be problematic for the officer's safety.
So we believe that this driver is alone in this car. Is that correct?
We haven't heard from the CHP yet as far as the number of people or occupants in the vehicle, so it's unclear. We're hoping to get some light on the vehicle. I'm going to come in tighter. Maybe you guys can see it. I'll brighten the picture up a little bit here, and maybe you can see the driver in there, or possibly a passenger. Yeah. But so far, hard to tell.
Really hard to see anything from this angle, other than possibly a make and model, a Lexus SUV, crossover SUV, that's moving, largely at freeway speeds. We've seen 65, 70, 75 miles an hour as the CHP continues behind this suspect. Again, the want DUI. And also assault with a deadly weapon once the suspect, according to law enforcement, rammed the vehicle into a Chino PD patrol car, just making the situation worse, and now trying to outrun law enforcement, which is a difficult gambit when you've got empty freeways and an endless amount of resources within the CHP, and of course tracking from the air as well. It's going to make it particularly challenging for the suspect. Again, don't know how many people may be in the car. From what we could tell, that angle was inconclusive, but it may well be the driver is the lone occupant in this one, but it's just hard to say.
Yeah, when we were zoomed in a little bit more, it looked like there could be possibly somebody there in the passenger seat, or maybe it's just, other. You see that?
Yeah,
light?
There's something light colored.
Yeah, but maybe that just could be something else. Who knows? Anyway, you hope that at least he's alone in there, because it could be terrifying as the passenger, or even the suspect's, accomplice, whatever. Being chased by 3 CHP officers. You've got the San Bernardino county sheriff's helicopter overhead. You've got the news media overhead, and all eyes are on this car and waiting to see what the next move is going to be. And you know, there is a possibility, as Gil was saying, that the next kind of action that the law enforcement could take in order to try and stop this would be a spike strip coming from the shoulder there. That is something that we could see coming up here on the 710 as the suspect makes his way south. And you know, but time is on the side of the CHP. You know, how much gas this car has, or how much electric charge it has. You know, eventually it's going to run out. But the CHP, you know, they trade off every now and then if these things tend to go long, and they will always have enough fuel and eyes on this suspect as need be.
All right, looks like he's getting off the freeway.
Mike and Cher,
here.
I can tell you that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, possibly exiting here, but I can tell you that our assignment desk, Elizabeth at the desk, was saying that she heard on the scanner that CHP was talking about there being just the solo occupant, the driver, in the vehicle. So we'll see what the driver does here as he's exiting the freeway, and we'll stand by for direction here. I believe this is going to be an off-ramp. Yep, he's got two options there, and he's going to make a right-hand turn. This is going to be in Linwood now, so we'll see what happens here with the Sheriff's Department if the LA County Sheriffs get involved with this pursuit. Now it's coming into Linwood.
Yeah, CHP still behind this, and now on surface streets, and you know, anybody's guess where this might end up. In the Linwood area now, potentially the suspect is familiar with the area. We've seen it many times in the past. They retreat to areas they're familiar with. Don't know that to be the case here. This again coming out of the Chino area, all the way out westbound on the 60 to the 710 south, and now we're on surface streets in Linwood as the CHP continues on the ground here. And Gil, the longer it goes on surface streets, the potential grows for municipalities, local jurisdictions to get involved, other police departments, but for now it's CHP.
Absolutely. I'm getting some information right now.
You just cut out, Gil.
The officers.
All right, and now you're back.
Okay, sorry about that. We're getting information from our assignment desk that all officers that were involved in that ramming of the vehicle are okay. That's good news. So as the vehicle approaches this intersection, he's going to make a left turn here, Mike, and we'll hold our spot here. But you can see CHP still in the pursuit. And we're going into a neighborhood here. This is Harris Avenue and Woodlawn in Linwood. So this might be a familiar area for the driver. Got off that freeway intentionally. It seemed like he...
Yeah, all of this movement appears intentional. As best you can tell by the behavior of the driver, it's not erratic driving. It looks as though the driver's headed somewhere, has a destination in mind or an area in mind where he may surrender, he may try to foot bail, may try to do any number of things. But law enforcement sticking with this. They're tracking again from the air, San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department, the CHP behind
Here's
him
out at 127.
in the Linwood area here that have been largely on freeways for the better part of the pursuit. And now off the freeway in the Linwood area, and a little bit of a struggle with our signal here as we continue to track this on surface streets in Linwood. As we know, this person wanted for DUI. The driver now we know is the lone occupant of the vehicle. DUI, and again also for ramming a Chino PD patrol car. So assault with a deadly weapon, and the list of charges grows. Right, and the deadly weapon obviously being his vehicle. That would be what they will use as the deadly weapon, going into that car. Good news is that the officers that were in that cruiser that this suspect hit in Chino are okay. So that's good news there. Here, as we are on surface streets, and it looks like, honestly, Gil, perfect for a pit maneuver in this area and the speeds. Yeah, and look at that, Sherry, you called it. He's moving into a position where he could do that pit.
He's scooted up there, that first officer, I'm saying, getting right behind the vehicle, very close in proximity, lining up for a pit maneuver. So we might see that happen now with the speeds and light traffic.
And we're getting word from Chino PD now that this started around 10 o'clock when officers responded to a report of a suspicious occupied vehicle. That's when they say the suspect rammed into a police car and took off. They do not know who this person is. They have not gotten a good read on the plate, that according to Chino PD, but they're now telling this is not a DUI suspect. This was, in fact, a suspicious occupied vehicle. That was the call that came into Chino PD, and in their approach to this vehicle, this suspect, according to Chino PD, rammed into their patrol car and took off, and the pursuit was on, getting on the freeway again, westbound 60, and moving along. There's a better look with a little bit of the street lights and the businesses around that are illuminating a little bit. You can see, again, we think it's just the driver.
It appears so, yeah.
Yeah, So that's good information and new information again that Micah just reported that we are getting from Chino PD. Again, this is not a DUI suspect, but simply a suspicious occupied vehicle, and is wanted for not only fleeing, but also for assault with a deadly weapon on the Chino PD cruiser that he rammed. So before he decided to take off. So it looks like they're going to try and do a pit maneuver over here. Here we go.
Wow.
Oh.
Right there. Again, one side, then the other.
There they go.
Got him right there. Spun him around. Is it enough to disable the vehicle? We'll see. We'll move up a little bit to get the trees out of the shot, but it looks like maybe, at least for now, the vehicle is disabled, just kind of rolling back. Driver staying in the vehicle, and a good job on that pit maneuver, just perfect.
Yeah, double take.
To bring this to a stop.
He tapped it the first time, and the bumper came off, but the car kept going. He whipped back around and made good on it at that point. And it looks, you see the way the car, when they spin around like that, it disables the vehicle, and he just started rolling backwards and eventually brought it to a stop. Now becomes the question, does this suspect comply at this point, or are we in for a standoff?
Yeah, boy, we'll see. I mean, not too many options for the driver right now, especially if that vehicle is now completely disabled. So we'll see if that driver decides to do the right thing and just give up.
Yeah, so they'll be issuing commands for him to, roll the window down, throw the keys out of the car. We've seen all this so many times in the past, but it clears. It's at this point, it doesn't look like he's done much of anything. The window's still up from what we can tell. And he is, as far as we can tell, ignoring the commands. Yeah, it's a standoff for the moment. Guns are drawn. Obviously, they're having a conversation with this driver who is obviously not complying at the moment. Usually, I mean, it happens various different ways, the end of a pursuit, right? But you hope that at least what would happen is that the suspect will come out and peacefully surrender. But you can just see how much law enforcement is on this right now, and they mean business.
They do. They're not messing around. They're not going to take any chances, and they're issuing commands immediately to get the door open, or the window at least, and throw the keys out, and then exit. So far the driver's not compliant. So it's the vast majority of these officers CHP, but it looks in the top left as though that may well be Chino PD that is also on scene here. Tough to say from this angle, but you've got another agency involved here as well, on top of CHP. There we might get a better look. That looks like Chino PD. Hard to say. Oh, is that LAPD? No.
We got a K9 unit on.
Well, it's a K9 unit nonetheless, but I believe that is a Chino. You know what they'll do is they'll hand over the pursuit to the CHP once it gets on the freeway. And the units that were initially in the pursuit, the Chino PD officers, will stay as secondary units so that they take custody of the suspect and take him back to their area. So it's likely that those are Chino officers there.
Yeah. So here we do have a K9, as you saw there, a K9 unit that is on site as well. So that's always one tactic they can use if they can't seem to get the suspect to comply. But we got to have those windows open or the doors open at one point to start this process of apprehending the suspect. Otherwise, this standoff could last. And we saw just last week, they brought in the battering rams and SWAT and, broke the windows and sent tear gas in there and in order to get that woman suspect out of her car after a pursuit. So, and that was up on Mulholland.
Which is something we may well end up seeing here if this person continues to ignore the commands. They can, okay, so they're going to come right in. Mm-hmm. They're going to come right in and try and bring this thing to an end rather quickly. So the door's locked. The door's locked. They can't get it open. Where do they go from here, Gil?
Break that window.
Well, they're going to try to smash out the windows. Yep, for sure. And if they have to, put some pepper ball rounds into the vehicle to try to flush the driver out. Here comes the stick. He's going to break that window. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He's going to keep smashing that until it breaks out. The driver is staying put, though. Look at that. He's going to knock that window completely out, and we'll likely see either they try to drag him out the window or open the door. Okay, he pops the door open. He slid over, and now he's out. So that did it. He had they had to use force to get him out, but he had an option to get out on his own.
This is pretty aggressive, but they did what they had to do in order to make this happen and to get this suspect into custody. But
yeah, I mean, you've seen this, a similar scenario that drags on for an hour, 2 hours plus, and they wait it out. Not in this case.
No.
CHP moving in quickly, breaking the window, getting the door open, and getting the suspect into custody tonight.
And there he is on his feet. It looks like the officers are checking that rear side. They got the door open there. I'm not sure what, they might have someone else in there. It's usually they don't. Okay, maybe not. It looks like they cleared the back seat. Yeah. So there it is, just the driver only, as they said, and in custody. And he could have saved himself a little bit of grief there if he would have just come out.
Yeah, he might have had some of that glass right in his face too, I'm sure. But here we have at least an end to this pursuit that started all the way in Chino, and from Chino made its way down the 60 West and to the 710 South, and then took an exit here in Linwood and surface streets, finally ending with what would you say, a double pit maneuver, if you will. It's an initial pit that took off the bumper, and then a second attempt right immediately after that finally disabled the car. And it was a bit of a standoff there for a couple of minutes until CHP decided just to go in aggressively and try and open that door, which was locked, and then used a bat to break through that window and finally apprehend the suspect.
A last look at that man who has created a whole